Everybody, we are back. It is Taped on Live, favorite podcast, favorite channel, favorite everything. We are back. You already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, subscribe. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the dislike button if you don't like it. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't like it. Also follow us on Twitter at DMarkJohnNFL for me, at MHolder95 for Matt, and of course PandaSubs.com. TDL discount code 35% off. All right, so we were talking about not doing a review, but then I watched what Brian Flores is doing, and I was like, I gotta show this. So that's really what happened here. Like I gotta show this shit. This is crazy. So we're here talking about the Vikings game. It was 3-0. It wasn't very exciting to watch. After watching the film, I'll talk about what Matt thought about defense, but I thought on offense that Aiden O'Connell he just was in hell, basically. That's the only way I could describe it. It was a long day for him, and it just threw him off. Everything that was happening, it was just bad. They didn't set him up either. I thought it was a terrible game plan. They were really expecting them to blitz the hell out of him. Like every single play call they had felt like they were getting ready for a blitz, and they're expecting him to blitz on third down, but they didn't. So they just didn't know what they're doing. I'm going to show some Josh Jacobs a little bit because Josh Jacobs didn't play well either. I thought he did not have a great game at all. That he missed some holes and just was bad. Kind of just I don't know. I don't know what was happening with that. But he wasn't very good. They tried to run some more power, and he just felt like he wasn't comfortable there. They tried to mix it up, but looking at PFF, they still had him at 13 zone runs, so like 12-1 or something like that. But I don't know. I felt like I saw a little bit more power than I thought. But it was on offense. It was interesting, man. You could tell why they didn't score any points. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
It was not shocking after watching on TV. They just weren't ready. It really felt like Brian Flores showed a lot of respect to Aiden O'Connell, like a lot more than I bet that they were expecting, because just some of the things that they were doing, it felt like they're like, okay, well, you're pretty good pre-snap. Let's see how good you are post-snap.
And
it didn't go very well. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I feel like Aiden O'Connell even talked about, like, he was like, Flores is gonna blitz me. I mean, we talked about it. Flores is gonna blitz me. So I mean, I feel like part of it, you kind of got to tip your cap a little bit to Flores for doing a tendency changer. And I mean, from the sounds of it, I think you were talking about it too on Sunday, where bluffing pressure, showing some simulated pressure and that stuff to screw with O'Connell, which again, when you're expecting heat and then all of a sudden the picture just keeps changing, you can still mess with a rookie quarterback. So yeah, tip your cap, I guess, a little bit. You got to put some respect on Brian Flores' name. You've been hating on him for too long, man.
I guess so, man. I guess that was I guess he watched the show. He just heard me hating all the time. So I'm like, he can't be a head coach. He's like, I'll show you, because that was some crazy game plan. It was just the stuff they were doing to him. I'm gonna show like most of it, but I will say a couple things, because I talk about, like, you could tell that maybe they respect Aiden O'Connell, right? It was a little bit of a show of respect, because they could have just blitzed him, but the plays where they just blitzed him straight up, Aiden O'Connell handled it well. So you kind of see why they did it, right? On the other hand, but the other part of it is with Aiden O'Connell, his evaluation is how much is he going to be with changing pictures, with pictures changing. It really reminded me of his Wisconsin film, which he was awful. He just threw like a bunch of picks. He was terrible, right?
Yeah.
And that's what Wisconsin did. Wisconsin would change the picture, and so that's why I was, is he ever going to be better at that? Because that's going to be his whole problem in the NFL. If teams start changing the picture on him and he can't handle it, then he can't be a NFL starter, because he's a cerebral guy. So he has to be able to win the mind game, and that's not going to happen. That was probably the only thing that, if I had a concern for O'Connell's future, was the handling of the mind game. But he's a rookie though too. But go ahead.
No, I mean, I don't have much to add. I was going to kind of be my biggest question is, like, I know we talked about it, and in the moment, like, making like this is going to be hard for him to overcome. Like, just as far as like, when we talk about the Raiders drafting a quarterback. So I was curious if it's something like, is changing the picture something that's like a common theme for him, or was that just like a 1 week thing? Because I feel like in what we've done so far on O'Connell, like, I haven't noticed that be like an issue. I don't know if it's a strength or what, but
I'll say nobody's changed the picture like this, right?
Okay.
I think the Chiefs threw some things at him, but he was just so on fire that game. Like the throw to the Jacoby Myers, he shouldn't have threw that ball to him, right? and that was kind of pre-snap. And I don't know, maybe that's what Brian Flores saw, but he shouldn't have thrown that ball to Jacoby Myers. But it's just such a great that it was right on the money that it didn't matter. He should have, if he was reading it correctly, he should have went to the other side based on the coverage switch, right? So the Chiefs threw it at him a couple times, but he was able to beat it, to be honest. And even a couple times this game, once later in the game, he was able to hit some of them, right, and understand it. Like one time he took a check down to Jacobs where he was able to, they did some crazy switching, and he was like, okay, stay calm and hit it. And then when the one with Michael Mayer dropped it, that was a good job by him. They kind of did the same thing, and he was able to read it well and went to Mayer, but he dropped it. So, yeah, and they ran like a bunch of screens, and none of them worked. Which I thought was, they ran 18% of their throws were screens.
Try to take a page of the Bears playbook, which I don't know. Maybe that's my fault a little bit. I was calling for them to run a few more screens, and then they were ready for it this time. But Tellus wasn't over pursuing missing tackles, I guess.
Yeah, every time they went empty, man, they would drop 8. Every time they went empty. Which I don't know if teams are going to copy that. I don't know if they will. I don't know if Brandon Staley's going to try to copy that, be that. But that was interesting too. Every time they went, they dropped 8, and they were able to do that. They dropped 8 a lot. That was a thing. Like it was a lot of dropping 8. And I don't want to go on a big rant before we get the defense, but it kind of reminded me how teams played Kirk Cousins. We talked about him being Kirk Cousins, but it reminded me how teams played Kirk Cousins early in his career. That's what it really, because that's what they teams used to do to him. Drop 8 and then make him like, because he wants to get rid of the ball quick, and he's like, his head starts bursting because he just like, do I run? Like, do I make a play? Like, that's what they were doing to him. So they're really playing on that tendency. But how about the defense? What does the defense look like? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I mean, for the defense, I mean, obviously, give up 3 points. There's not too much negative to be negative about. I think the pass rush was probably one of the better games we've seen. I mean, saw guys like obviously Crosby contributing. Malcolm Kuntz, Tyree Wilson, who we'll look at a little bit later. Even Robert Spillane getting in there, getting with some pressures. Adam Butler, he had one nice rep. We'll see it too when getting away with some defensive holding a little bit on a stunt. And, I thought the pass rush was a lot better. I will say though, when the pass rush didn't hit home, the Raiders definitely benefited from some poor quarterback play. There was one play like on Spillane's sack, like thank God he made it, because the Raiders were in cover 0, and Marcus Epps, for some reason, looked like he was trying to pattern match and switch with someone instead of just sticking with his man. And there was going to be someone wide open over the middle of the field, but again, Spillane hit home so quickly that it was didn't matter. And I mean, there were a handful of drops too from the Vikings that I think helped the Raiders out. We'll see a pretty bad overthrow on at least one of these reps from Josh Dobbs. So Raiders definitely benefited a little bit from some poor quarterback play. I mean, their defensive tackles in the beginning of the game when they were running the ball, like Alexander Madison was averaging 6 yards carry, and it was because there was massive craters in the middle of the defense because guys like John Jenkins, Bilal Nichols not really quite getting it done against the run. And even Tyree Wilson, I think, had a great game against the run in his limited snaps. They used him more as a pass rusher, but not as good, I guess, is what I'm trying to get to, the long-winded way of me getting to that, as you might have expected from the Raiders defense.
I mean, they got backup quarterbacks, man, all over this schedule still. I mean, they got Easton Stick this week, Gardner Minshew. I think we play the Colts next week, right? Is that am I right about that?
No, they play the Chiefs on Christmas and then the Colts.
Cool. All right.
Which can we consider Gardner Minshew a backup quarterback at this point? I mean, he's been the starter since since week 4.
Yeah,
and filled in for Richardson in that one of the games that Richardson missed early in the season. So.
I just like I said, I got 2 wishes, man. Beat the Chargers and the Broncos. That's all we gotta do. Chargers, Broncos, bro. Keep the Broncos out of the playoffs. Because I tell you, that Broncos game is gonna be for the playoffs, for them to get in. Just beat them and don't let them in. We're cool, man. I'm good. I'm all right.
I can see it. I think it's shaping up that way.
Yeah, it is. So, what do you want to get to first? Let's do offense first. We're gonna basically start off with Brian Flores just toying and messing around with Aiden O'Connell all game. Okay, so here's the first one. All right, so what we're getting here is we're getting a flat, a hitch, and a dig. I don't know what this concept was. It was really ugly. I didn't like it. And then we're getting a go around the backside, okay? Now, this looks like a blitz. Like there's 5 across, it's 3rd and 4. It looks like some kind of blitz. I mean, if I go earlier, you kind of see where Harrison Smith was starting at. So Harrison Smith starts right here. right? And they kind of just walking around, moving around. And they start moving back because they're about to do cover 2 or whatever, or inverted cover 2, basically. All right, so here we go. And I asked BD. He says this is too wild because this guy he's locked man to man here. Okay, so there's a lock man to man. Then we got cover 2. I think there's a lock man to man on this side, but it looks like cover 2 because this guy, he is playing the cover 2 corner, but he's playing man here, and then we got man over here. So I don't know if because this is cover 5 over here. You see how he's playing this in a trail?
Yeah.
There's really nowhere for him to go with this football. Nowhere, really. There's really nowhere to go. And they're rushing 3. I forgot to notice that. There's only 3 guys rushing. This is 3rd and 4 guys. So this is the first third down of the game. So this kind of just highlights, foreshadows everything we have here. And O'Connell actually does a pretty good, decent job staying in the pocket and finding Josh Jacobs getting the first down here. But this is just the future of the game. Is just watch one more time. This is the deception they did all game. Right, and I don't know what Myers is doing here. I don't know this route. These guys, so much no spacing here. A lot of these concepts they were running, like they didn't do this before. Like I don't know what was like Adam Gase like take over. Was he the offensive coordinator this week? I didn't get it, man.
Bad spacing, probably.
Probably, man. It was like, what the hell? Get him out of the building. Don't let him back. Seriously. All right. 2nd and 18. So this one, we're getting 4 verts on this one, right? So I mean, it looks like cover 0. So you see these guys, these 2 safeties are really close to the line. That is cover 0 look, okay? Cover 0 across the board. So Aiden O'Connell, he's thinking, I got a one-on-one with Devontae Adams and Byron Murphy for his cover 0. He's excited. But what he's missing is Daniel Hunter's going to drop out. Ivan Pace is going to drop out right in front of this seam. And then you get this corner who's going to drop out. And then you get this linebacker who's going to come. So it's a simulated pressure with a bunch of guys dropping out that turns into cover 2. So it looks like cover 0, but it's really cover 2, simulated pressure. All right. This is the first drive, guys. So you get the simulated pressure. You see, he's looking to both of these situations right here. You look into this vert, and he's looking to Adams. But you see Pace. He gets back there. Daniel Hunter kind of cuts it off a little bit. And then when he looks to kind of pump fake after Harrison, Smith comes over here. It's too late because Pace is starting to jump towards it. He can't do it. And then he basically panics because maybe if he doesn't panic, he can get to Renfro. Even though I don't think he has the arm strength for that. I don't think he has like the gun or the cannon.
Yeah.
So it's a sack. But I do want to say the Raiders didn't draft Will Levis, and Will Levis made this throw just yesterday. The same throw right here to DeAndre Hopkins. Same look. He threw that throw. He made that throw.
Yeah, I kind of remember that play. That was a nice ball.
Why he was getting hit too. That's why he drafts big arm quarterbacks. Because I watched that. I watched this and I was like, he shouldn't try that throw because he throws a pick if he tried to make that throw. but so there's only 4 guys coming. Abdullah actually makes a good block here, which I think O'Connell should have did was just like shovel pass it to him. Just throw him the damn ball. All right. But he panicked. It was a panic. And you could see like his head shaking. Like you could kind of see it. Like he's like, oh my God. Like you couldn't believe that the picture changed.
I will say if you're gonna do 4 verts here, the cut block is not the way to go for Amir Abdullah, because this is exactly why. Like now the guy has once the first and second read are taken away, like it's an easy sack. You know what I mean?
Easy sack. All right, here's another one. This one we're getting slant flat to this side. So I'm saying this is some really basic stuff they're doing. There's this basic NFL offense this game against a really complex defense. So slant flat, and then we're getting basically a flat. Renfro's going to see the blitz. Renfro's thinking blitz. So he's going to turn his head around quick, and Jacoby Myers on a go route here, okay? Now, like I said, we're getting a bunch of guys dropping out once again. We're getting this guy. He's dropping out here. This guy, he's dropping out here. And then you get Harrison Phillips, who is going to drop out. Okay, so they're rushing 3 again. This is 3rd and 2, I think. 3rd and 1, actually. So what I was thinking, I was like, hey, man, you see this. You guys have seen this all game. Just like bring Jacobs back in and run the damn ball. That's what I was thinking when I was watching this, but it was too late because it was already Monday. So, but that's what I'm saying. This is 3rd and 1, and they're dropping. They're rushing 3 guys on 3rd and 1 because it's empty. As soon as they went empty, they're like, we're dropping out. You see right here, they're making all these calls like they're blitzing. They even show it. All these guys step forward, and here we go. Is backing up, and then Aiden O'Connell thinks he's getting blitzed, so he doesn't set his feet. He has terrible mechanics on his throw because he thinks he's getting the blitz, and he throws an ugly throw to Renfro. Ugly. All right. Now, if Aiden O'Connell stayed calm on this one, I still think if he stayed calm, right? Because this guy still jumps this. If he stayed calm, because they're playing like a two trap cover two type of thing, he has Myers, man, like wide open.
Yeah, so I was gonna say is not only was it a terrible throw, he also threw into the trap corner.
Yeah. Because he thought it was a blitz. He thought a blitz was coming. Just totally tricked. He sees a blitz coming. These guys are waving. These guys step forward. You see Pace, he kind of steps forward like he's going to do some kind of stunt, but then he goes backwards. And then he's already throwing the ball, bro. This is 3-man rush. And then you see his mechanics are just terrible on his throw. Like he just didn't step into it. Just ugly because he's trying to rush it. He thinks he's getting blitzed. Ugly stuff. Yeah. All right. It doesn't stop there. 3rd and 5 here. Here's another one. All right. Now I had to text BD on this one because I didn't know what the hell was going on. So he said this is called too wild. I talked about that earlier because he's playing man-to-man here. So this is why it gets crazy because Brian Murphy's over here. Brian Murphy's playing over there. If this is zone, he should be over there, right? But no, he's right here. And then everything looks like man. It looks like a blitz. It looks like a blitz coming. We got this guy's on a corner. I think he's like a safety or something, number 5. He might be a corner, but yeah, it just looks like a blitz. You got these guys roaming. 44 is roaming here. But we're getting man to man. Brian Murphy's he's locked on Devontae Adams. Okay, so I'll watch his right, and they're only rushing 3 again, so they drop out again. See Pace drop out. The other guy drops out. They're only rushing 3 again, and they're in every single passing lane basically. There's nowhere to go. All right. Aiden O'Connell actually does a good job on this one, getting out of the pocket and throwing to Tucker, and he just drops it. This is a big play in the game because if he catches that ball, difference maker in the game.
Is he looking Tucker's way initially? Because it looks like it.
Let's see. Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah, he's totally confused. It looks like Tucker, if he had read it post snap, Tucker was opened up the seam or in the hole.
Yeah.
Before that.
He's got to catch this ball, though. I'll show you. Let me see. Yeah, it should be there, but it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like cover 2. It's cover 2 with the man lock. I don't know about you, man, but they don't do that in college.
No, not often.
No, not often, right? Maybe like Nick Saban or do some crazy stuff like that. All right, here we go. Like there's more guys. Now this one, I was so mad at this play call because it's sticks, and I don't know why you call sticks in a key 3rd down. It's disgusting. So I ain't even draw it up. But this is how they're gonna do it. All right. So these guys are dropping out. They're rushing 3 again, guys. They're rushing 3 again. This is 3rd and like 3, 3rd and 2. They're rushing 3 guys. So actually they're rushing 4 because Harrison Smith is gonna come. Right, Harrison Smith is going to come. So they're rushing 4. So Harrison Smith is on simulated pressure, but this guy, he's dropping to here. Pace is going to drop all the way over here. He's going all the way to these passing lanes. And then Hunter, not Hunter, 98, he's dropping back here. Okay. So here we go once again. This is all we're getting, man. And of course, this is sticks. Is disgusting. So, I mean, if I'll kind of show back what Aiden O'Connell's doing. He's got single high here, man, right? And he's like, I got a flat route. This is going to be wide open. Oh, no, it's in for a cover 2. You're wrong. You're wrong here. It's in for 2. And then maybe, and by the time you realize that, maybe you could have got to Adams, but Pace is, he pick that off by the time he got there. Right? And so Aiden O'Connell's like, goddamn. Then he thinks he can run through this, and he was just terribly wrong. It wasn't going to work. But yeah, man, this is the stuff they did all game. Nothing there.
On top of it, too, they ran a line game with Smith and Hunter.
Yeah, like watch the line game over here.
You see Smith go, like, instead of rush the quarterback, go to pick Munford.
Mm-hmm. Yep. it's just a masterclass, bro. It's like you just masterclass.
And also,
Go ahead.
I think I talked about it too on the preview. Like Flores does do, like he'd been doing like some crazy stuff, but nothing like this. Nothing this out of the
like this is crazy. All right, here we go. So here's another one. They're showing everything, right? They're showing everything here, and they drop out once again. So we'll see over here. Showing everything here. They're gonna drop out. Do the same exact dropout as they did last time, right to the outside routes. And I just want to show, which I think they missed this whole game. This is wide open the whole game. Right, but you see here that he's trying to go to Adams. It's not there. Pace is already over here. Then Mayer slips for some reason. He just trips over himself, so he falls. But since he panics because they dropped out and it looks like cover zero, so we should go back. So since it looks like it's not look like cover zero, but it's just like single high. It's like man to man, and then they drop out. Right, O'Connell panics. So he panics. And if he stayed in the pocket, he has Renfro just wide open if he stayed in the pocket. But he panicked. I mean, this is like, because he has nobody rushing him, right? Like if he just stayed there, it's a big play. But the confusion, you see it on the backside, the confusion just panics him. He's just like, no. He didn't know what to do.
A little off topic, but was the whole Sam Darnold I'm seeing ghost, was that against the Flores led Dolphins maybe? Because this is giving me those kind of vibes. Like he's like worried about the rush that isn't there.
Was that? It might have been.
We'll look it up.
It might have been the Bills, I think, on that one. Yeah. You might be right though. All right, so here's the interception. So the interception, this is when it gets crazy because they do kind of the same thing, but this time Ivan Pace, he intercepted this ball, okay? But look where Ivan Pace starts for the pre-snap. He intercepts it over here. Okay. So I just want to start there. And this time we're getting another simulated pressure. This guy's gonna drop out. Harrison Smith is coming once again. Okay. But we're getting dagger, right? We're getting a dagger, classic, Raiders offense play at this point. And then we're getting a slant. But if you're Aiden O'Connell pre-snap, you're just watching this, you're thinking, okay, I got Devontae Adams wide open because he's about to get one-on-one on this side. All right, I'm getting one-on-one. But no, look where Ivan Pace goes right over there. Look. And I think O'Connell didn't see him. So if I'll go back a little bit. So he looks down. He looks over here. He sees he's getting a one-on-one. He's like, okay, Adams is going to win maybe. But they're in inverted cover 2 again, okay? This is inverted cover 2. This is not man-to-man. But O'Connell sees it. I don't know what he's thinking. He's thinking maybe he's going to get this past him. Because what he misses is Michael Mayer's is wide open. If he just is like, okay, that's not good. I could just go right to Michael Mayer. We're still playing. We're still playing football, guys. The drive's still moving. He might not get a bunch of yards, but he's going to get at least 8 right here, right? Keep the play going. Keep the drive going. Maybe we can get a field goal. That's all we needed. But no, he tried to force it past Pace. And Pace just made a great play. He just dominated all game. So
on top of it, Michael Mayer against a natural pass rusher in space too.
Yeah. So, but this is what I'm talking about is the confusion of, simulated pressures. And he had plenty of time. He just forced this ball. He forced it. So, I do want to show why they didn't blitz him because this is like the only time they actually ran like a pure like man blitz with man to hand behind it, and they got 35 yards. So if you want to know why they didn't blitz him or why they did the things they do, it's because Aiden O'Connell is pretty good pre-snap and he does things like that and get 35 yards. You see, he's able to point out stuff. Yeah. You see here backside, he's able to point out blitzers, knows who's going, where guys are going. And you see the peak backside, he knows exactly where to go with this football real quick, and he gets a big play. So that's why they didn't blitz him. If you want to know. But all right, so let's go to some Josh Jacobs. I just want to show Josh Jacobs missing some holes here because some of it's just frustrating. I just went in the film on here. So this one is on a second down and like 5, I believe, and they ran the ball 2 times in a row. And you see they're running some inside zone to over here, right? But for some reason, Josh Jacobs goes this way. I don't know why he did this. I mean, I don't know why he did it. But, of course, he gets tackled, and the Raiders, they get off the field really quick on the next play. Like I really have no idea what he was doing here. Maybe he thought he was going to get a big play over here. Then Ivan Pace was just dominating this whole damn game. That dude is just a monster. He's 5'10" though, I guess. So you see it. Just see it this side. I kind of okay. We skipped it. Here we go. So here's the one that. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say what helps him out is Jacobs cutting backside so early because like that, I mean, just ruins Craig Van Roten's angle on him on Pace.
Yeah, too. Yeah, that too, man. So here's one. This is the big play. This is a hold. Okay, so we're getting lead power. So they didn't run a lot of power. We're getting lead power here, right? And you stop it right here. I think Jacobs has 2 places to go. He can go here and at least get like 3 or 4, right? Or he can follow Jacob Johnson and he can at least get 3 or 4. But he takes it outside, and then Parham, because his power doesn't expect him to go outside, ends up holding. And then they fumble the next play, and they don't get anything. And then on this one, this is what, like, I don't know what was wrong with him in this game. It was crazy. Because look at that. And maybe he doesn't want none of Pace. Maybe he doesn't want none of him.
Yeah.
But come on, dog. You got to take him on. And then so then they get nothing instead. And then it's 3rd down again. So yeah, that was the offense looking very, very just a quarterback who was in hell and just was just in shock. He couldn't believe some of the things he was seeing. Seeing cover 2 with like a man lock. This has to be just like, you just didn't see that in the Big Ten. The Big Ten, you don't see those type of things. And so he was confused. I think they had the best game plan for it. They didn't adjust either. Like, I feel like you could have played some mind games with that and try to figure out some ways to at least attack the middle of the field in those situations, especially when the team's doing those type of things, especially because I didn't show the screens. Because as soon as they would go empty in the screen, they would drop 8 and they would go, the defense ends would attack right outside. So they were all over everything they wanted to do. And I feel like it was a game of adjustments. Like, you had to adjust this game. Like, I know you hear some NFL players like, oh, we don't adjust at halftime. But I don't care, man. If they're doing all this stuff and you have 0 points, you can't move the football, you have to figure out a different game plan and, move some guys around. I don't know, attack the middle of the field, which they didn't do at all. So yeah,
it doesn't even have to be at halftime. Like you're talking about after the game, like you got a surface, you got a tablet on the table on the sideline. That's what it's for. That's what it's for, to see what they're doing, and so you can make adjustments and be like, hey, they're leaving the middle of the field open every single time we go to empty. Let's attack it. And I just also want to say, I don't know if I've ever seen a team run inverted cover 2 so successfully throughout the entire game. Like usually, like I feel like it gets beat because as soon as you figure it out, it's like you can know where to attack. But for whatever reason.
I mean, you keep calling sticks, bro. You keep calling a flat route in a curl. It's going to work. Which they haven't done that all year. Like, where did that play come from? When did they start running that play? That's why I was like, what the hell is happening? Why did they run that play this week? Why do they think that was going to be effective against the blitz? Like, is it hitting the outside or something? Or
I feel like part of it is like we've been talking about a little bit with Hardegree. Like, he gets like too cute. Like, we're like, at first we're like, oh wow, like he's actually showing creativity, and like now it's like he's doing like too much of his for his own good. Like he's like keeps mixing it up and keeps doing these different schemes, and it seems like he's installing new stuff every week. When it's like, all right, you got to get the basics and the foundation. Like what you did at one point, granted it was against a bad Giants team, worked really well.
Yeah,
and I think for what there was for going up against like a Jets team, like that worked. Like you've had moments where your offense has worked, and then they try and do something else, and it's like no, like let's stick with what works. Stop changing it when it works. Like they finally figured out how to score some points, and then you keep changing it. But
yeah, it really felt like after that pick that Aiden O'Connell threw against the Jets, and then after the Dolphins game too, they were like, oh, they're just terrified of him, right? But yeah, his ADOT this game was like 4.3, dog. Like he didn't throw the ball downfield at all. Trey Tucker didn't even play. Besides that one play I showed, he didn't even play. I don't even mean snaps he played that game, but he wasn't on the field. So they just had this like short passing game. Like they felt like they're just gonna get rid of the ball quick outside. It was weird. I don't know what. And then I saw that's what I was pissed because I saw a little out of gaze in there. There's a lot of bunches, a lot of stacked receivers. Get him out of the building. He can't come back. Lock him out. Lock him out, bro. I don't know.
Like,
I'm done with that. All right, Matt. Let's get into defense.
get to it.
Let's get to it.
All right, so like I said, going to go over some Tyree Wilson tapes. Thought he had another good game as a pass rusher. We'll see here. Obviously, the Raiders have him as more of a D tackle alignment here. They also used him more on passing downs. I think his split was like something like 24-9, something around there for as far as like passing snaps versus run defense. Made the game a little bit simpler. And this is actually going to be his first play of the game where he gets the sack. We'll see. One thing I really want to point out is his get off is getting a lot better. Now he gets the sack here a little bit or more because that guard goes to pick up Spillane on the stunt and to call out a little bit of defensive holding. Nice job by Adam Butler getting that reach around. Probably should have been called, but hey, it only counts if they call it, right? Patrick Mahomes.
Uh-huh.
And then, but anyway, what I like about this too is like every one of these I'll snap. I'll try and pause it right at the snap. Like you'll see, like obviously we're not out of the blocks or anything, but he's out of the stance as soon as everyone else is, and this is getting a lot better. This is at least a lot better than what we were seeing at the beginning of the year when he was getting called out by Baldy and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of see a similar thing from here, similar rep here on this one. Again, let's see, pause it right. Like we're getting out of the stance, we're getting off the ball a little bit. I mean, he's beating Malcolm Kuntz off the line. Obviously not Crosby because Crosby's a freak. But like this is a lot better than what we've seen in the past. And then two, like you can see the impact that it has on his bull rush. Like Crosby, again, being the monster that he is, wins off the ball and no surprise ends up getting the sack. But if Crosby's not there, that's probably Tyree Wilson's. That's probably his second one of the day. Now I will say a little bit to point this out. The center does step on I think that's Dalton Reisner's foot there. That's why he ends up on the ground. But still, like, for the guy that we've been watching over the last few weeks, that's so much better. Like, just him getting off the ball and getting into it and firing off and actually able to generate some pressure and collapse that pocket a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. All right, so this one's going to be a little bit of regression as far as the get off goes. I will say he was still inconsistent with it. But again, as we'll see and the other rep coming up too, still getting better. Like this one, he's the last guy out of the stance.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't matter because we get the screen. I mean, he plays that pretty much perfectly. Like you'll see he gets into his line as the guard here. Does a good job getting some surge, recognizes it, and then follows the screen back to the ball. What is that? 1-2 yard gain?
Mm-hmm.
Also, give credit where credit's due. Nice job by Diallo forcing this back inside, forcing the running back to cut it back, and that's part of what helps make Tyree Wilson make that play. Last skip for Tyree before we move on to Robertson. So again, Raiders are kind of getting a little bit more creative with how they use Tyree. This time they flip him and Crosby and put Crosby over the guard. Tyree even had a few snaps over the center in this game. Again, this is a good one. Because you can see right here, him and Max, they're off the ball at the same time. And two, there we go.
That's a good rush. Speed
to power a little bit here. You can see, like, once he gets this get off down, this is why you draft him, right? He's not even getting fully extended there. And he's going against, I think that's Brian O'Neill still, who's a pretty good right tackle in the league. I mean, he walks him back into Josh Dobbs in this pass on, I think this was like 3rd and 5, ends up sailing way out of bounds. Partially because it's Josh Dobbs and partially because it's because Tyree Wilson's not letting them finish this throw, and the Raiders are end up getting off the field. So again, nice day, another nice game from Tyree Wilson as a pass rusher. Thought he did a few nice things. I think ended with 4 pressures on PFF, so the career high for him. Again, a lot better, and especially if we can get more consistent with that get off, we'll see a lot more good reps from Tyree to finish out the year. Moving on to Amik Robertson. I think he actually ended as PFF's highest graded corner or highest graded player on the Raiders defense this year, and was up there as far as corners across the league go. I'm going to go ahead and show every pass that he was targeted on. And this is going to be the first one. Now, what I will say is what worries me, and watching from the a couple weeks ago, is this is very clearly cover 0. And he kind of zone turns, so I'm not 100% convinced that he knows what coverage it is. But and him turning the wrong direction is why Justin Jefferson's able to catch this.
Mhm.
But what I do like is even not even facing the receiver. I mean, that's a beautiful job breaking and driving on the route. We're going to see that constantly throughout these clips. So even though this one goes down as a catch, again, that's one of the best receivers in the game. I mean, he ran the route with him on that one. And again, while not looking at him while his eyes are in the wrong place.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. We got some 2nd and 3 here. Raiders are going to be in cover 3, and the Vikings are going to run a curl route, which is typically a cover 3 beater, especially with Trayvon Merrick not quite or getting a little late to get out to the flat and not looking for any depth. That's a hard play to make as a cover 3 corner, but Robertson, once again, going to kind of run this route for the receiver, and as soon as that receiver breaks, he's breaking on it, ends up making a collision at the catch point and forcing an incompletion. Next one's going to be 2nd and 20, going to be up at the top of the screen. Raiders are in cover 3 again. And again, Kevin O'Connell, he actually had a pretty good game plan. Again, just kind of this is a good example of how Vikings are let down by quarterback play because that ball is hilariously overthrown and nowhere near TJ Hawkinson. But one thing that you don't have to be a football genius to figure out that can beat cover 3 is running 4 guys deep, right? We got 3 guys to cover 4. I guess they do have a comeback on it at the top of the screen. But that's another typical cover 3 beater. But because Amik Robertson recognizes it and drives on that seam route, had that ball been more accurate, he's at least in a position to, maybe be able to swat this away or maybe stop Hawkinson right short of the sticks. And again, Josh Dobbs, that's why you're not playing anymore.
Bro.
This one, I'll be honest, I included it more just because, like I said, I wanted to include all the targets from Amik Robertson. Just a simple screen. Dropped by KJ Osborne there. What I will say, though, is he does a good job of reading it and beating this block so that he forces Osborne, had Osborne caught it, to run right into Nate Hobbs, who would have been right in a great position to make the play on the tackle. All right. And then, we got cover 3 cloud on this one.
A lot of cover 3.
Yeah, they ran a ton of cover 3 in this game, and a lot of it was a lot of cloud more than they normally do. A lot of it looks like this. We'll see another one coming up here in a second, but going to see it again. Now, gets that curl route again, and with Tyler Hall working wide this time, going to be even harder for the Raiders to defend, but he comes up and makes the play, punches the ball out, and is able to get another pass breakup. And I will say, too, this ball is late, and Osborne can do a better job of working back to the quarterback. But, hey, we'll take it from Amik. Nice play to force the Vikings into a 3rd and long situation. All right. Once again, cover 3 cloud. Another nice cover 3 beater from the Vikings with a dig route. And I will have to point out this. Divine Diablo doesn't work for any depth. It takes the cheese again. It doesn't help Amik out whatsoever. But again, I guess I'll just have to ignore that. Diablo actually, after this play, you can see him like hitting his head because he knew he screwed up. But anyway, dig route. Robertson again breaks. And that's one thing that was really standing out about him in this game. Is his route recognition was pretty much on point, and he jumps this route again. Now, once again, better ball, and this is probably a completion. We got Nick Mullins in the game at this time. I think was expecting him to sit with Spillane there, but ball's behind him, and Amik Robertson's able to make a play on it, and again, force a 3rd down situation. All right. So, this one I think is actually going to might go against Hobbs here because the Raiders looks like they're in cover 3, and gets a little muddied with the play action fake. Another nice job of Amik crashing, coming hard downhill, making a beautiful tackle right near the line of scrimmage. I think keeps us to a 3-yard gain, keeps the Vikings behind the sticks. All right, this will be our last one. This one's 1st and 10 late in the game. I think this was actually the Vikings try that they ended up tying the game on, but get one more nice play on from Amik. Coming up, being physical against the screen. Now, what I will say is, I thought he had a concussion on this play, just the way he landed.
Yeah.
He's on the injury report with a wrist injury, and right here is exactly why. Like, I love the physicality, but brother, let's wrap up and get your hand out of there, because that's a quick way to break your hand and break your hand or wrist. And again, not exactly a great look at the end there with him falling over like that. That's why they pulled him out or the concussion specialist, whatever, on the league pulled him out.
Yeah.
From the game for a second. But yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah, a lot of nice things from Amik. I thought it was a pretty big game for him, being his first chance to be to prove himself as the number one corner, and he had a good one. I mean, got some benefit from some bad quarterback play, like we were saying a few times on those reps, but not a bad showing at all for a guy that really needed to step up and might have made himself a little bit of cash as a future free agent.
Yeah, I mean, he's a solid player. He is. He's a solid NFL player. Like, he's gonna make some mistakes, but he makes some plays too. I think he makes plays when he's out there. He's physical. He's a tough guy. Yeah, he's definitely a guy who's gonna play for a long time, right? He might get better on a different scheme or a scheme that might use him a little different. Because I think he can blitz pretty well and do different things like that too. So yeah, he has a future in the NFL. I don't know if it's gonna be with the Raiders. I don't know if the Raiders next regime decides they want to bring him back or they want to keep him. That's their decision. But he definitely has he's a solid NFL player. He's a solid NFL corner at this point. I mean, he's had too many good games. You know what I mean? Like, kind of, even if there is some bad games where he's struggling or he's letting some guy, he's doing something stupid or whatever, there's good games that behind it. So that's why I feel like, okay, he's a solid guy. Like, he's, so I mean, some teams could assign him for sure. I don't know how much money he's gonna get, but he's gonna get more money than he's probably making right now. I'll tell you that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
What I keep saying about him is, like, he's good in what his role is right now, like, which is as a backup cornerback, like you said, gonna make some plays. Also gonna have some bad coverage breaks or gonna get beat a couple times, but yeah, I mean, he's definitely a playmaker out there. Love that he's fearless. I mean, we saw that on a few of those tackles, and he's willing to come downhill despite being 5'8", $165 or whatever he is, $185. So definitely got a future ahead of him. Hopefully the Raiders can find a way to maybe bring him back next year. We'll see.
Yeah, one of the 2020 draft picks has a future. One of them.
The one remaining, the last pick of that draft.
Oh, John Simpson too. John Simpson has a future too. He's with the Ravens. John Simpson, he's already playing pretty well. So Tyree Wilson, though, I think that was encouraging. That was very encouraging to watch. I think a lot of Raiders fans would be like, "Oh, I like that." Seeing how he played, just seeing his growth, because I thought this where he could go inside and see him, and then I seeing him beat Brian O'Neill and getting some get off. Yeah, that was encouraging to see for sure.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, that's kind of, and what I liked about this game too is, like, they played in the role. This is going to sound arrogant to me. They played in the role I was envisioning for him, which was on that, like, those third downs, like, ideally with Chandler Jones and with Max Crosby on the outside, and him being that, like, that defensive tackle or that rusher on the inside that can push the pocket and collapse the pocket. So it was nice to see him, one, get an opportunity in that role, and two, also thrive in it. And maybe that's kind of where they can use him a little bit more moving forward. But I will say again, like, the run defense kind of surprisingly has some work to do. Christian Darrisaw got him a couple times in the game, and a few times where they kind of collapsed him inside. But we'll take what we can get right now, because that was definitely one of his better showings as a pass rusher.
All right. So let's talk about the Chargers a little bit, I guess. The Chargers, they play Chargers on Thursday night. They're playing Easton Stick, right? Justin Herbert is out. He's the latest quarterback to be injured this year. They weren't going to make the playoffs anyways. I don't know why everybody's crying about him. I mean, they're like 5-8. Like, I don't know. Who cares? You know what I mean? It's like, oh, he's hurt. Let him rest. You know what I mean? They're going to make the playoffs anyways. It's not like the Bengals or like the Vikings. You're like two playoff teams that got their quarterbacks hurt and they lost it, because Jake Browning's over there still playing pretty damn well. So Easton Stick this week. I watched a little bit of that game. He made some pretty good throws. I don't know. I don't want to. I'm not gonna act like he's absolutely terrible. I hope they beat him, but he's not Josh Dobbs. I can tell that just for some of the throws he was making. He has our talent at least.
He's Josh Dobbs when Josh Dobbs gets newly acquired by a team.
Yes. So the Raiders are going to be ready for him. That's the thing. We have no idea what this is going to look like. I just hope they're ready for Khalil Mack this time. I think that's the big thing. We don't want Khalil Mack to break the sack record this week. Let's hope that he's at 15. We don't want to help him. We don't want him to get 23 this week. We don't want him to break another record. I think that's what the Raiders need to worry about this week. I mean, the defensive line over there, the Chargers is pretty good, but the defense is, of course, there's Chargers defense. They've actually played pretty well the last 2 weeks, though. Ever since Brandon Staley went on a rant about how he's calling the defense, they've actually played pretty well the past 2 weeks. So that's gonna be interesting to see the dynamic that they do. Do they do some of the Brian Flores stuff because he likes to play cover 2 as well? Is he gonna mix it up that way? Is he gonna show him a lot of stuff and then switch it up? Because he does a pretty damn good job of doing that too, disguising things, Staley. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting matchup. What are some of your thoughts?
I mean, I think you nailed it right with the pass rush. That was what obviously killed the Raiders the last time these two teams played, that and O'Connell's turnovers. So, I mean, they can avoid that. They can definitely win this game. And that was kind of the difference the last time is O'Connell's 3 fumbles, 2 that he lost, and then the pick were a big factor in setting up a lot of the Chargers game plan. On top of it, Thule, I'm going to butcher it. Thule. I'm just going with Thule for now.
Go ahead.
Another guy I worry about. I know they don't have Joey Bosa, but he actually had a few nice rushes and been a pretty good rookie for him this year. But yeah, and then Easton Stick. I just been a Raiders fan for too long to know when backup quarterbacks come into play, I almost get more nervous. Like the Nick Mullins game will forever be etched in my brain. I feel like there have been a few others where you're like, oh, they're starting to back up quarterback. This should at least be cake, and it, at the very least turns into a way more competitive game than it should be. So, yeah, I'd almost rather see Justin Herbert and feel a little bit more confident than having to play a backup quarterback on a Thursday night again too, because that was when Mullins shredded him a few years ago. So
yeah, because they might not have Josh Jacobs or Cole Miller. You know what I mean? Josh Jacobs might not play. We might get our Zamir White game. We're getting our Zamir White game here, guys. Zamir, you're playing for a job, in my opinion, because if he actually plays this week, because the guy who's coming in, the next coach, he ain't keeping you, bro. You did the NFL 2 years. You can't get no carries. I don't know what's happening, Zamir. You're playing for a job this week, so I hope you're ready. I hope you got your Wheaties going. Hopefully, they get Abdullah some carries this week or something like that. Mix it up, kind of that'll throw teams off a little bit. Giving him some runs in shotgun against some wider boxes. But it just seems like 2 good ideas right now. I feel like the Raiders aren't going to do any of this stuff. So
maybe everybody's favorite Raider, Brandon Bolden will get a few touches.
Oh,
or in that contract.
Special teams ace Brandon Bolden,
yeah,
with his 1 special teams tackle a year, but he's an ace and he blocks really well. He blocks really well on the punt team before he releases. He's a great blocker. But this is gonna be an interesting game because I think it's gonna be an ugly game. It's gonna be ugly, obviously. We all know the Raiders probably aren't gonna score 20 points. So I'm just I don't know. I'm not looking for that much forward to it. I'm trying to get ready for the draft here. I'm start trying to do that, but we'll see. We'll see. They got to beat the Chargers. I want them to beat the Chargers. So go ahead, Matt.
I was going to say, I looked at it this way. At least if we don't want to watch the game, and if we get another 3-0 crap show that we watched last week, at least it's on Thursday this time, and we don't have to wait all the way till Sunday and lose watching out on Red Zone on if it's going to be a bad game.
Yeah, that is very great point. Great point. We get an easy Sunday this week. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm not going to say the Raiders win or do anything at this point because I don't know. I mean, after this 3-0 game and them calling sticks way too much for me, too much sticks. I feel like Jason Garrett was the offensive coordinator. It was just bad. I really feel like this is like a Jason Garrett game. I feel like it wasn't Adam Gase. I feel like Jason Garrett came to help. It really was. It was.
That's about as mean as you can get to call Bill Harding Jason Garrett.
That's what it was. That was some Jason Garrett shit, bro.
Hard to argue against.
Oh man. All right. So we're out of here, guys. Hopefully the Raiders can rebound against the Chargers because that was ugly. It was a lot better on defense, but it was ugly on offense. It's just nobody was good. And then so hopefully we can get some better performance. Jordan Meredith was good though. Shout out Jordan Meredith.
On the playing time 13 snaps you win?
13 snaps, 13 passing snaps, but they were good ones.
Be honest though, it's not that Jordan Meredith was that good. It's just that's how much you dislike Andre James that you were excited to see someone else in there.
And Parham wasn't bad at center. He wasn't that bad. He actually was actually better at center, to be honest. So there's some positives for you guys. There's the offensive positives for you. But we'll get into it. Hit the subscribe button, subscribe. We're out of here. Peace.
Yeah.